Okay, Boker Tov. Today's daf is Vav, which is the beginning of a major Agadita on the destruction of the base of Mikdash. But we first pick up at the bottom of the bet in the Gemara on the Mishnah. On the Mishnah, seemingly because we were dealing with sort of takanot and relating to things that are stolen and so on, that was property that was seized by a secret code, some type of assassin. And at what stage did we say that if you third party, somebody else purchased it from him, he owns it or does not own it. So let's take a look, and that was in the context of before, after the wars of Korban Abayis. So the Gemara says like this: Hashta Haruge Muhammad Loya Basikrakon. Haruge Muhammad Yesh Basikrakon. The Mishnah said that the Sikrakon didn't exist at the time of the wars of the Korban Abayis, literally those that were murdered during the war. How much more so should if there weren't that phenomenon didn't exist then? Did it exist after that? So Amar Rabbi Yehuda, no. Well, don't but din Sikrakon come on. No. It means that at that time, well, obviously the phenomenon was there of the Sikrakon, but the law that the Mishnah is talking about did not apply. Amar Ravasi, Gimel Gzerot Gasru. There were three edicts at the time of the Korban Abayis. Gzera Kamaisa, the first edict, Kodelo Kotel Liktulu. Any presumably like Roman soldier that does not kill a Jew will be killed. So Mitziasa, the middle edict was Kodelo Kotel Leisiar Bezuze. So it wasn't that you would get killed if you didn't kill a Jew, but if you did kill a Jew, you would be rewarded with 4 zuz. And Basraisa, the final Gzera was Kol Dekatul Leaf Tulu. They were trying to instill after, I guess, the time of the war itself. Maybe it was during the war they were trying to murder, kill all the Jews. After the war, they were maybe trying to do some mop-up operation. And then, but finally, then when they were after the transition period, they were trying to reinstill order. And then they said, at this stage, anybody that would kill a Jew would be killed. Hilchach Kamaisa said the first and second stages where you were obligated or at least rewarded to kill a Jew. So keeping the katlil, since the guy would be, you would be killed. Agav unse gamur makni. If you were basically told by a Roman soldier, by one of these guys, give me your land and I won't kill you, you knew that he really was going to kill you because he either would get killed or at least he'd get rewarded for that. So you really wanted him to just take the land, and you had your full intent to give him the land to save your life. So in that case, anybody who would buy the land from him would own it. He wouldn't have to come back and even buy it from you. You had totally given it to that Roman. But Basraisa, by the third edict, where the person was not allowed to kill you, Amar, so he's threatening your life, but he's not allowed to kill you. So when you give him the land, you don't really want to sell him the land because you say to yourself, let him take it today. And then tomorrow I'll be able to pursue him in court. Okay, so in the third case, even though you gave him the land, you didn't really want to give it to him. You just gave it to him because temporarily you couldn't, but you knew that you expected that you would have some type of legal recourse. And in that case, if somebody were to buy the land off the secret cone after he took it from you, he would still have to go back and buy it from you in the right order to know that you really wanted to sell it to him. Okay, so the Gemara is now not analyzing the specifics in the Mishnah. It just sort of laid that as a, almost as a backdrop to now transition into the Agadita about Korban Abayis, because now it laid this period of Korban Abayis where they were killing all the Jews. But it's interesting, it didn't sort of unpack the Mishnah, but the idea of the Mishnah is that now the non-Jew, the Sikrikon, doesn't really own it. So you, a third party, are going to buy it from the Sikrikon. If you first buy it from the Sikrikon and then from the original owner, it's not a good purchase because he's doing it out of fear, because he knows that the Sikrikon wants the sale to go through. And the only way it works is if you first buy it from the owner and then from the Sikrikon. That was stage 1. And then stage 2 was, presumably, was a sense that it was not likely that the original owner was going to get it back. So you basically led to a position where either the original owner had the right to first the right to purchase it from the Sikrikon, and if you didn't, you bought it from the Sikrikon and gave the owner a quarter of the value. So that was stage 2 of the Takana. Again, the Gemara is not really going into that. It's transitioning straight into the Agadita now of Korban Abayis. Yes, Charlie.
Does this little sugya have any impact on the machloket over whether non-Jews can own land in Eretz Israel?
Well, yeah, there's not a question about whether they. Well, yes, the reality was obviously they would purchase land and own land. The question is whether that would have a status for Trumas and Maestros, how much legally, according to
or
halacha, would they have a right to change the actual structure of the land. But the reality was, we weren't always in control of that situation. The reality was that they would have landed. Okay, so now the Gemara says, now it's going to transition into Korban Abayis, without, interestingly, like I said, it's sort of like just glossing over the legal aspects of this, the halachic aspects of the Mishnah. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Said Rabbi Yochanan, Ma'idasi, what's meant by the verse? Ashri Adam Mefachei Tamid. Praise is the person that is constantly afraid. What does that mean? So Umakshel Libo Yipo B'Ra'ah, and one who strengthens his heart will fall into evil. Kamsa Bar Kamsa Charuv Yerushalayim. So Yerushalayim was destroyed because of the story of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa. Tarnagola v'Tarnagolta Charuv Tur Malka. The Tur Malka, this city was destroyed because of a chicken and a rooster, because of a hen and a rooster. Rooster and a hen. Ashaka de Rispak, and for like some type of an axle of or a wall of a carriage, Charuv Beitar. Beitar was destroyed. Now we're looking at what does it have to do with the pasuk that we quoted? So the most obvious is going to be the issue about Makshel Libo. Strengthen your heart. I mean, people know the story of Kamsa Bar Kamsa about the person that did not have any sympathy for this guy that was accidentally invited into his house and so on. So it has to do with like a hardness of heart. But also the beginning of the pasuk of Ashrei Adam Mefachei Tamid, which is that is basically doesn't just mean like somebody who's constantly anxious, but somebody who is fearful of concerned about their actions and concerned that they're doing the right thing. And so on. Like one explanation is you're afraid about your sins. So it's a right type of a concern about. So therefore, these are people that show no concern that their actions are no concern for the impending possible destruction of Yerushalayim, and we're just constantly, very much like, sort of like approaching things with like blinders on. So that's like the reverse of the Makshel Libo. Okay, so these are people that don't have any concern about the bigger picture about what might be happening, and we'll see that in the story, and are very focused on just the here and now and not thinking about the possible ramifications, and also this hardness of heart. So let's take a look. Kamsa Bar Kamsa. Kamsa Bar Kamsa Chav Yerushalayim. Now it's also worth mentioning that like Kamsa means like is like something like to grab, to like hold back, like it's like stinginess. It's what's the right word? Anyway, but somebody, it's the opposite of generosity.
Miserliness.
What? Miserliness, right? It's a komitz is a hand breath, like close everything in your hand, right? So it's a lack of generosity of spirit is also the obviously those words are significant. Char Yerushalayim. Who gava derach mekamsa. There was a man who his good friend was Kamsa, and his enemy was Bar Kamsa, Avad Udasa. And he made a feast, this person. Amalei Lashama, he said to his attendant, Zilaisili Kamsa, go invite for me Kamsa, my friend. Odalaisili Bar Kamsa, he went and he accidentally invited Bar Kamsa. Also Ashkechei, the Havi Yossi. So the host found Bar Kamsa that was sitting. Amalei, Nichti. Who gavra bal devavada who gavra who? So this guy's my enemy. My baisach. What's he doing here? Kumpu, get out of here. Amalei. So Bar Kamsa said to the host, Hova asai, since I'm already here, Shafkin, just leave me alone, let me stay. Don't embarrass me. I'll pay you for what I'm eating. And I'm drinking. Amalei, he said to him, no, I refuse. Amalei, I'll give you half of the cost of my field. I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm not of my food, of the whole feast. I'll pay you for the whole feast. I'm like, no, nothing. The other, he was so committed to his enmity and to his hatred, right? So he took him in his hand, he stood him up, and he cast him out. Amar, Hoyo, one also wonders if there's a little bit of a metaphor here, about the siege of Yerushalayim, right? That like people that are so committed to being at war, they're not able, to kicking people out, right? So obviously on the one hand it's the Romans, but it's also, as we're going to see, it's the zealots within the city, right? So people that are just so committed to their enmity and their hatred and so on that they're not able to switch gears, even when there's a much obvious other course that could be, that could make things much better.
Yes. Kamsa probably thought that this guy who is never named was trying to
right, appease him or
appease him
something.
by
Yeah.
writing with these.
Exactly. Okay, so not the other Ukmi the Afghan, and he kicked him out. Amar, since there was rabbis at that meal and they did not stop him, they did not protest. So Shmamina Kanichalahu, we see that they're okay with it, which also raises another theme about, what's the statement? The only thing evil men need to flourish is for, good men to stand by and do nothing, right? So the other theme about the people that were not directly active in bringing these to the destruction about, but through their inaction and through the fact that they did not stand up and protest.
Maybe they didn't see what was going on.
Well, maybe they didn't see in this case, but anyway, that doesn't matter. I mean, he thought they did.
Yeah.
But again, I think that the larger theme here is also pointing to the responsibility that the rabbis had. It's very nice to blame the zealots and to blame this and whatever. Who were the people that weren't in a position, even before things got to a crisis moment, that they could have redirected certain courses of events, or when things got to the crisis moment? And we're going to see that about the ways in which the rabbis let things happen, right? So that's another major theme here, is about the people who are to blame, not because of what they did, but because of what they could have done and didn't. So we see they're okay with it. Let me go and sort of, this phrase of to eat bekartza is an idiomatic phrase, but it means basically let me go and and spread evil report about them, be malshin on them, libel them in the house of the king, of the Caesar. Also, Amalei case, so he went and he said to the Caesar, Mardu b'cha Yehuda, the Jews are rebelling. Amalei miyemar, says who? Amalei shoder lehu korbana. Go send them a sacrifice. And you see, if they'll offer it up. Also, he went and he sent to him this third calf. Whether that mean, there's whole debates about exactly what that means. But anyway, Tosus just says it means a very fattened calf. As Bar Kamsa was bringing it to Yerushalayim, he made a blemish in it. B'niv Shasayin, and its upper lip. Also, Niv Shasayin, indication about speech and the power of speech in all of these stories, which we will see. The Amrla, the Dukin Shabayin, and some say it's a tiny little, the cataracts of the eye. So Duchtad Lidan Havimuma, something that for us it's a tiny little blemish, but for us it counts as a blemish. But for their sacrifices, they don't consider that a blemish. So the Romans wouldn't realize that there's a problem with this animal, but the Jews wouldn't be able to offer it up. Sever abundant the Kruve, Michel Malchus. So the rabbis at the time, again, it's interesting that it's the rabbis, since it was probably the Kohanim and the Sadducees that had more control over what was going on in the base of Mikdash. But be that as it may, the rabbis at the time thought to offer it up.
The text is adopting that attitude, though, which is also important. Right? That attitude that we should, we should bend the rules.
Exactly. So here you're actually seeing an approach of you mean as opposed to the Sadducees, a little more even in general.
Yeah, whoever it was, right. Gemara is adopting that.
Right, exactly. That they should have
ultimately be the wiser course.
Exactly, and that gets exactly as opposed to that we were seeing that we're sort of already telegraphing the idea of rabbis standing by and not acting and being very stuck in your ways and not being able to be flexible. And here, the rabbis had an opportunity to do something, to actually bend the rules, be flexible, see the bigger picture, and do it because of because you got the Roman government there. You want to make peace with them. So this Rabbi Zechariah ben Avkulus, so I don't know if we ever hear about him any other time, said, Yomu Bali moving grading Magabi Nizbeach? What? You can't do that. People are going to think that you can bring a Balmum to the altar. Okay, so therefore, because of that, of that sort of very classic way of looking at things, it can, very sort of, about these small little concerns, not being able to see the bigger picture and not being able to bend the rules. So Savar Lemikdale. So they said, fine, if we can't go ahead, if we can't bring this because of halachic concerns, let's kill this Bar Kamsa guy. So he shouldn't go and report back to us, to the Roman government. So Amalu Reb Zechariah. So Reb Zechariah said, all right, people say that's the punishment for blemishing the sacrifice is that you're put to death. So, so such this concern about the halachic implications that other people will learn from it, and not this obviously much bigger concern about the Roman government. So, Amar Reb Yochanan said, on Vitunuso, Rabbi Zechariah ben Avkulus, Hechribas Beitenu v'Sarfes Hechalenu, V'Glisenu Me'artzenu. So the humility of Rabbi Zechariah ben Avkulus destroyed our house and burnt the Heichal, destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, burnt the Heichal, the sanctuary, and caused us to exile from our land. Now it's pretty interesting because, first of all, why to describe it as humility? But what it means is that sometimes, you need to take a little bit of initiative. Right? You can't just say like, oh, who are we to change halacha? Who are we to do something out of bounds, right? So as opposed to sort of seeing this, I mean, you could have said his obstinacy, right? His his aggressiveness. He wouldn't let us change things, but it could also be framed as like, no, who are we to change things? So it sort of puts the other side in this sort of, on the defensive. Like we're trying to, who do you think we are that we can go ahead and change the halacha or whatever? So it's a way in which this position, which is not the wise course of action here, but it's framed as the very frum one, as the humble one, as the one, of who are we to make those types of changes. So number one, but the other interesting thing that needs to be pointed out is that it's very nice that they're pointing the finger at him, but obviously the rabbis weren't willing to take him on. He might have been the part of the reason, right? But how about the other part, about the rabbis who stood back and weren't willing to take him on and to say, no, we got to look at the bigger picture here. Yes, Charlie.
Could Bar Kamsa have had the din of a Moser?
Yeah, he could have. Obviously, he would have. But but the point here is that this Reb Zechariah was afraid that people would misinterpret it.
And there are a lot of great sages who were around at that time. And who is this?
Right, exactly. So it's very nice that they say his humility, but but the rabbis have to take responsibility for not standing up to him too. Their humility also. They didn't stand up to him.
He's casts in a different light, perhaps, the idea that where you find God's greatness, you find his anava.
Right.
Right. So what is the greatness can be the anava, or it could be sometimes it's called for. Right. To be like Rabbi Zechariah and something.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Did you see any connection with the previous, what we studied yesterday about the thief's chatos being accepted? That they actually made that kind of a change on that level, and here they weren't able.
That's an excellent point, which is that's really an excellent point, which didn't occur to me. But so much of the entire parak and a half, and you're talking about just yesterday, was about the rabbis exercising their power for the sake of tikkun olam and making radical change, like a woman, who shouldn't be divorced, made her divorced because of hefker based in hefker, something that shouldn't be a korban, making it into a korban, real power, like profound, like not just monetary issues, but issues about the Beis Hamikdash and korbanos and personal status and all these things, which is like a real expression of rabbinic power, right? And it's like so that's a really excellent point. That contrast in a way, maybe that's like the tikkun, we realized after we completely renounced our responsibility, in the course of events here, that we really have to own that power and own that responsibility. So that's a really excellent point that it occurred to me, to see the whole previous thing as these things in contrast. Like, look what happens if you have too much anava. Who are we to change the law? Who are we to do anything? Right? The disaster.
We destroyed, right?
Right? That's an excellent point. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Shudder alavayu leniran Kesar. So they sent against them, Nero. So Nero was now coming to do war against them. Kikaasi, as he was drawing close, shot at Nero. He shot an arrow, the Mizrach, to the east. Also enough of Yerushalayim, it fell towards the direction of Jerusalem. He was doing this to divine, whether this was the right course of events. The Marav to the west, also enough of Yerushalayim, it fell towards Jerusalem. Arba Ruchos Hashemayim, to all four directions, that's enough of Yerushalayim. So it's clear that it was divinely ordained that he should come and destroy Jerusalem.
That's why shuls face every which direction that you can think of.
What?
That's why shuls face every which direction.
Because every direction goes to Yerushalayim. So he said to a child, Psokli Psukayach, tell me the pasuk that you're reading. Of course, this is a way the rabbis would sort of try to, divine God's will, and now they're putting this in the mouth of Nero. But anyway, tell me what biblical verse you happen to be reading. He said to Nero there, "V'nasati es nikmasi be'edom. I will do my vengeance against Edom which for the rabbis meant Rome, Biyadam Yisrael, through my nation Israel. So Amar, so Nero said, it's clear he wants his Beis HaMikdash destroyed because all the arrows are falling towards Jerusalem. Ubai, he's going to wipe his hands on me. So he's going to get me to do his dirty work because it says he'll take his vengeance against Edom, and then so he's going to get me to do his dirty work, and then he's going to blame it all on me. So I'm not going to be part of this. Okay, so Arak for Azil, he ran away and he went, and he converted. And why he converted, I don't know. I mean, it's a God here's trying to get me to do his dirty work. But how the Jews are about to have
to be on the winning side.
What?
Wants to be on the winning side.
Eventual winning side. The side that's going to be losing for the here and now. Yeah, but okay, anyway.
Is this the Nero that Rome burned? Or that's
Apparently,
a different Nero?
There's a
Same
Nero
guy?
to Caesar. This is in the rabbinic imagination, okay? Rabbi Meir. Now, Rabbi Meir descended from Nero. I don't know what we're supposed to make from that Rabbi Meir, and why they picked Nero. I guess because Nero was Nero the Caesar right before Vespasian? Was he the one? I mean,
there were 3 short-term emperors between Nero and Vespasian who ruled for less than a year each.
but soon after
Vespasian
Nero
was the first significant emperor
after Nero.
Yeah.
So okay. Anyway, Shabi Eliyui las Aluvayulas Besinus Caesar. So they sent now against him Vespasian. All right. Now, obviously, as we're going to see, Vespasian here calls him the Caesar Vespasian, but he was not yet the Caesar in the way that in this story. Okay, so he's now Vespasian is now a general, waging war, coming to besiege Jerusalem. Also, Tsar lost Tloser Shani. He besieged it for 3 years. Hanahu Tlosa Asire. There were 3 wealthy people in Yerushalayim. Nakdim ben Gurion, who we hear about elsewhere. Ben Kalba Savua, who was Rabbi Akiva's father-in-law. Right? Wasn't he Rabbi Akiva's father-in-law? Ben Kalba Savua, I think so, in another story. What?
His wife's father.
His wife's father, his father-in-law.
Yeah.
Ben Tzitzit HaKesed, and somebody called Ben Tzitzit HaKesed. Right. Okay, Ben Tzitzit HaKesed. Nakdim ben Gurion. So who's Nakdim ben Gurion? What does that mean? Somehow he was like so wealthy, it was as if the sun pierced through the heavens for his sake. Ben Kaba Savua, anybody would go into his house when he was hungry, as hungry as a dog, would come out as sated, the sated dog. Ben Tzitzit HaKesed, so that his fringes of his garment, would drag on pillows. People would walk around carrying pillows, by him, so that the fringes of his garments wouldn't touch the ground. Igadami, some say Shaisa Kisato, his chair would be Mutelis Ben Gedole Romi, amongst the the great prestigious people of Rome. Okay, anyway, Chad Amar Lahu, one said, Ana Zaina Lahu Bechiti Yisrael, I will support all of Jerusalem, because they're now besieged, they're not getting any stuff coming in. I'll support all of them with wheat and with wheat and barley. One said Lahu, but the Chamru but the Milcha. I will take care of providing all of the wine and salt. Umishra and oil. And another one said to all the people of Yerushalayim, but Tsivi, I will support them with chips of wood, with firewood. But and the rabbis praised the one who would support them with the firewood more than the other 2. Why? Rav Chizda, Kol Aklidi Havi Masul Shame. Rav Chizda would give over all his keys to his attendant, except for the keys to the firewood house, storage facility. Rav Chizda said, one warehouse of wheat requires 60 warehouses of firewood to bake the wheat, right? It's like they say, how much grazing land is required to produce, 1 pound of meat, right? So anyway, the guy who's providing the firewood was obviously a huge amount. I don't know if his value was, obviously firewood presumably is cheaper than wheat and other things, but anyway, it was a huge amount.
When you're under siege, storage space is at a premium.
That's a good point. Okay. Anyway, they could have supported Jerusalem in siege for 21 years. Obviously, this is a bit of an exaggeration. And now there were these Biryoni, which are basically seems to be zealots.
That's what it's translated.
What's the etymology of that word? Does he give it there? Finds out?
Says
Oh, here we go. The source of this word has not been found.
There you go.
here it says from the root bore empty.
Yeah, I don't think that's really it. Anyway, the zealots.
This is possibly connected to Pretoria.
Pretoria?
Yeah, that's from the Life of Brian. I remember the
Oh.
Praetorian Guard were the
Oh,
Roman.
see,
I
it
see,
was the emperor. It was the emperor's part.
Okay, but no, this
Cicino-
seems to be. No, but this seems to be that they were Jews. It was the
Cicino
zealots.
Palace guards from Beer.
Palace guards, really? So it was Romans? But no, from the context, it's clear that it was the zealots. Anyway, Amalahu Rabbanan, Nefut V'Navi Shalom V'Adayu. So let's go out. The rabbis here, for once, right? They were trying to be the ones to see the bigger picture, and they wanted to make peace. Let's go out and let's make peace. Let's just surrender and make peace. Lo Shavkinu, they wouldn't allow them. Amalu Nefut V'Navi Kirva B'Hadayu. So now the zealots said, no, let's go war against them. Amalu Rabbana, the rabbi said, Lo Mistaya Milsa, it won't work out. You're not gonna which is a phrase that also means God won't help you, but it's not gonna work out. You won't succeed. Kamu, so in order to force the people to go to war, what the zealots did is they got up, Kalinu Lahanu Ambari Dechiti V'Sa'ari. They burned down the warehouses of wheat and barley. Okay, to force people, you have no choice, so you have to go to war. You have to fight. Rabbi Kafna, and there was a famine. Marta Bas Baisos, Marta the daughter of Baisos, Atirasa Yerushalayim. She was one of the wealthy people of Yerushalayim. You also know about Baisos. Baisos ben Zonin, he appears in a number of stories. 1 minute. Shadraso Lishlucha, this is such a great story. She sends her Shaliach, Amarle, and she says to him, Zil Isili Smida, go get for me fine flour. The Azio, by the time he got to the market, right, is dubbing. It was all sold. Also, Amarla, he came back and said to her, Smida leka, there's no fine flour, but there's still the white flour. Amarle, fine, Zil Isili, go get it for me. The Azio is dubbing. By the time he got back, that had sold. Also, Amarle came back and said to her, leka, there's no white flour. Kushkaraika, there's more coarse flour. Amalei, she said to him, Seal Isili, you would think at one of these stages, you would have just said, just get me whatever is available. Anyway, she also had a cell phone. He could have just texted her. Anyway, go get it from me. The Azil is stopping. By the time he got there, that was sold. Azav Amallah, he said back to her, came back and said, Kushkaraleka, there's no coarse flour. Kimcha the Sari, but there's still barley flour. Amalei, Zil Isili, go get it for me. The Azil, by the time he got there, he's dubbing. Okay, it also got sold. Shalifa Misano. She was, she took off her shoe. Amran, she said, let me go out and see if he has found anything to eat. She stuck her foot into some cow dung. Umesa, and she died because she was so disgusted from it. She had been so refined, and now she was just so overwhelmed by this disgust of this. And Umesa. Karya Rabbi Yomi ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yomi ben Zakkai read about her the verse. 1 minute. The delicate one that her foot has never been put on the ground. Mitanega Meirok. So from her delicacy. So here this curse was coming to. I don't know why she took off her shoes though. Anyway, yes. Why didn't she put on her shoes when she was going out? Yes.
So she was Yehosh ben Gamla's wife.
Okay.
Well, she had all that money she had used to buy the high priesthood for her husband.
Oh, that's an
and now it
story.
won't even buy.
Right. I forgot that she was the one that bought the high priesthood. Right. Okay. Does that say anything about why it says she took off her shoe?
I don't think she took off her shoe deliberately.
She said she wasn't wearing.
She just wasn't wearing shoes.
Barefoot,
Michelle
she decided I'm going to go
She
out.
was barefoot, but she didn't put her on as she right. She didn't bother to put them on when she went down. But okay. 5. Where are we? That's what her means. Her shoes were off. Okay. Where were we? Ikadami. Some say Grogos Rabbi Tzadok Achla. She ate one of the dried figs of Rabbi Tzadok. When Rabbi Tzadok basically was fasting, and when he would eat some food, he would suck out the juice of the dried figs. So Rashi says, he was so ill and sickly that some of his, some of his germs. Rashi doesn't say germs, but Rashi says some of the sickness attached to the figs that he threw out. So she found one of these thrown out figs, and Nisa Umesa, and she became endangered and she died. The Tzadok, Yosef Arbon Shani B'Tanisa. He was for 40 years in a fast. presumably not a continuous. He would probably maybe it would be he'd break it in the every few days or in the evenings. The Yerushalayim should not be destroyed. You have an achol nidi when he would finally finally eat something, in between the fasts. Having mitchaze me'ivarai, he would be so thin that you could see the food going down from the outside. The kihave barya, and he was a little bit healthier. Ma'isile grogros, and they would bring him some dried fig. Ma'itz me'ayu, he would suck out the water, the juices. V'shadilu, and he would throw it out. Okay, so anyway, so that's how she died. Now, so obviously that's in contrast to this very delicate woman. Here he is, he's fasting himself. Also, it's tzadok, right? He's the tzaddik. He's the one person that is the one who's aware of what's happening, and it's sort of like a very private righteousness, right? It's also he's obviously very righteous, but it's not having an impact on anybody else. Anyway, when she died, so apparently she was in the process of dying. She hadn't died yet, and she took out all of her gold and silver and threw it out into the marketplace. Amra, she said, "Hi, Lamai Baili. What do I need this for anymore? I mean, it's now worthless." That's what meant the verse. Kaspam b'chutzot yashlichu. Their silver they shall throw out into the street. Okay, so that's the end of that story. Now, Abba Sakra. Now, we spoke about the sikrikon, right? And sakra is the sakari, which are right? That's a Greek word that means like a dagger or something.
Latin for dagger.
So that was another name for the zealots, right? Yeah. Okay. So Abba Sikara, he was Reish Bir Yoni Yerushalayim. He was the head of the zealots of Jerusalem. Baruch Chasei, Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai, but who's Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai's nephew? Havishalachla. Now, Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai sent for him. Tabitzino legabai, come in private to meet with me. Asa, he came. Amalei. So Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai said to him, Matayav disu hachi, v'chatlisu lehula alma. How long are you going to stay in your sort of, in your rebellion here, and you're going to kill everybody through famine? Amalei. So this Abba Sakara said to him, "My Yavid, what can I do? If I tell them to not do something else, they'll kill me, even though I'm the head. But they won't listen to me." Amalei chazili takanta lididi. Let's try to figure out some solution for me. The eight book to get me out of the city. After the Habi Porta, maybe there'll be some small salvation. There'll be something that I'll be able to preserve. Maybe we'll be able to do something. Amalei Nikotna, because we said, fine, here's what we're going to do. But Kitsiri, make it look like you're sick. Let all of your students come. Let everybody come to ask after your welfare. Lie in bed for many days. Make it look like you're dying. Everybody will come and visit you. Put up a good show. The icy meaty saria, get something that is stenching, that's spoiled. The agni gabach, and put it in the bed next to you. Lie it next to you. And when people say let be said that you die, and then people will smell this rotting flesh. Okay, let your students go into your bedroom. Nobody else, because your students will be in on it, but you don't want anybody else to know about what's going on. Because if other people were there, they would sense that you're not dead. Why? Because you're lighter. Because if you're alive, you're lighter than if you're dead. That they know that a live person is lighter than a dead person. It's true, right? Because it's the way you sort of balance your body when you're being lifted up or something, right? Charlie, is that
you don't really. Well, actually, ask Joel Simon about that.
No, but it is true. Dead weight is heavier, but
because you can't adjust.
I think it has something to do with the way you naturally balance
was pretty
your body.
heavy to begin with.
What?
He was pretty heavy.
That's true. He was pretty heavy. So they did this. So Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua, who were the two future rabbis of Rabbi Akiva. Anyway, so they were his two students. They came and were taking him out in this coffin to Yerushalayim, out of Yerushalayim, because you can't bury a body in Yerushalayim. So apparently that they would let people leave the city to bury people. That's also surprising. Kimatu lepitcha, when they came to the door, so the zealots who were guarding the gates wanted to pierce him through to see if he was really dead. So he said to them, Rashi says he means this Abba Sikara, said to them, Yomer Rabbanan Dakru, you want the Romans to think that we actually pierce our rabbis? That's be a disgrace if they will find out about that. So fine, let's just push him around, see if he moves. You want people to say that we're so cruel that we are pushing around the rabbis even in their death? Okay, so they didn't do anything to him. Padchule, they opened the door. Padchule Baba, they opened up the gate. Nothing, he can't use, he went out. Now, when he managed to come to the camp of this Vespasian, he greeted Vespasian. He cast off his disguise. He greeted Vespasian. He said, Shalom Aleichem Malka, peace to you, king, peace to you, king. So Vespasian said, you're deserving of 2 deaths. Chadad love Malka Ana. Number 1, I'm not king, so you're mocking me. The Kakaristli Malka, and you're calling me king. Malka Ana, if I really am king, why didn't you come to me earlier to show your respect? I'm glad the Congress, he said back in the day, you said, love Malka Ana, I'm not a king. Ivra, Malka, in truth, you are a king. If you love Malka, if you were not king, Jerusalem will not be given over in your hands. The Lebanon will fall in the hands of the mighty. The Ein Adir Elamelech, and Adir means a king. The Adir will be from him. And the end of the pasuk is Rashi. What's the end of the pasuk? Where is it? Umoshlo mikirbo yetse, and the ruler will come out from the midst. So Adir means king. And the Lebanon is Beit Hamikdash. Lebanon, this mountain, which is Harbais in Lebanon, the Kamris, and that's the number 1 is, I know you're in the king. Kamris Malka Ana. If I were king, why did I come to you? Until now, Yomi the Eastpan, because of the zealots. If you had a barrel of honey and a dragon was sort of wrapped around it, a serpent was wrapped around it, wouldn't you break the barrel in order to get rid of the serpent? So here too, what you should have done is you should have broken the walls of Yerushalayim, and that would have gotten rid of. We would have come in, and you would have dealt, and that would have just ended the whole thing earlier. Would have gotten rid of the zealots. So you had a solution. So okay. So Ishtik, he didn't have a response. Currently, Rabbi Yosef, he didn't Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Yosef, some say Rabbi Kiva said about this that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai wasn't able to find response. That God sometimes causes the wise men to retreat backwards and their wisdom to be foolish. Okay, he lost his ability. He knew better. He knew how to respond better. He should have responded better. He violated the name. What he should have said was, no, if there was a serpent around a barrel of honey, we wouldn't just destroy the barrel of honey. First, we would try to get rid of the serpent without destroying the barrel. Shaklin and Savta, we would take tongs. The Shaklin and Leila Darkan, we would remove the serpent. The Kaklin and Lein, we would kill it. For Chavisa, Shavkin, we'd save the barrel of honey. So here too, we thought we could find a way to deal with the zealots without having to destroy Yerushalayim. So that's not an answer. Okay, anyway. But basically, Vespasian was saying, you should have dealt with the situation and not waited this long. While they were having this conversation, Asi Pristika, some messenger came, Yomi from Rome, Amarle, and said, "Kum, get up. The Misle Caesar, the Caesar has died. The Amri Hanu Chashivi de Romi, and the important ones, presumably like the Senate in Rome, has decided, Lo Simach Beresha, to make you the Caesar. Havesayim Chadbisani." Now, Vespasian was wearing one shoe. He wanted to put on the other shoe. He couldn't. If he couldn't, the Mishlafa the Edach, so he tried to take off the one that he had on. Nothing, and he couldn't get the one. He couldn't get the one on off, and he couldn't get the one off on. What's going on? You gotta it's so funny, they have this Vespasian, and then this problem with his shoes.
Right.
It's so I don't know, humanizing him. What?
Making him human.
Exactly. Anyway, he said, what's going on? Don't worry that this is happening. Shmua Tova Askilach. You heard a good report. Shmua Tova to Dashin Otzem. That a good report causes your bones to be fattened. So therefore your feet swell with a sense of pride and gladness, and you can't get one shoe off and get the other one on. Elamaita Kante. So what can you do now? Because you got to get your shoes off. Lazy Inish, I know I just can't cut them off. Lazy Inish Delo Mesidaiach Mine. Go bring somebody who's disturbing to you, who you don't like being in their presence. And let him walk in front of you. And a downtrodden spirit will dry up the bones. Okay, so it'll restore your feet to their right proportions. He did that and it worked. He got his shoe off. Okay, anyway, since you're so wise, Why didn't you come to me? You could have found another way. So he said you don't want to destroy Yerushalayim, but you could have found some way to get, some, like you did, some scheme if you're so smart. So I told you why I didn't come to you, because we had these zealots. Didn't I tell you should have figured out a way to deal with it? Okay, so they're going around in circles. Anyway, okay, so now fine. They said, look, I got to go back to Rome. And I'm going to send somebody else, because we're still taking over, we're still conquering Yerushalayim. I'm going to send some general. Ask for me something that I can give you. Tell me Yavna v'chachamneha. Give me Yavna and its wise men. The very famous statement, which is, Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai. It's interesting because this was introduced, right, to Hakimu Kulei Hai, that, you're so wise. And Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai is trying to figure out a way to, preserve something, right? We didn't want to destroy Yerushalayim. We're trying to find a way to preserve it, and so on. And so what he realizes, and also echoes back, right, to when Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai says, find a way to get me out of the city, maybe I will have Hatzalah Porta. What was the phrase back there? Yeah. It was it Hatzalah Porta or something? Yeah. So a little thing to preserve. So recognizing we're not going to be able to save the Beis HaMikdash, but there is something, but what we have to do is figure out how to move beyond it, how to go to the next stage. And of course, this is the whole transition from a temple-centered Jerusalem, Judaism, to a rabbinic-centered one. Fine, the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed. We have to come to terms with that. That's going to happen. Let's move on to seeing what the next sort of focal point is going to be. What's going to bring us into the future is the focus on Torah. So that's what he asked for. What's, by the way, never explained by these stories is why was he offering something? It was I'm so impressed with how wise you are, because you were the one to first tell me that I was going to be the Caesar. What did he do that he was deserving of some type of a, of an accommodation? Anyway, fine. So give me.
Everybody's afraid of something here. Abisikra is afraid of his followers,
right?
And his followers are apparently afraid of the rabbis or the population, which is why they won't desecrate Rabbi Yochanan's body. Maybe he's also afraid of something. He's going to conquer this country, but they're going to, he has to rule over it.
Oh, he has to rule over it. That's interesting.
In fact, there was a rebellion for another century.
That's an interesting point. Maybe he realizes that Rabbi Yochanan is in a leadership position and he's doing it for more political issues. That's a good point. Yes.
Well, there's also an old tradition in Europe that a new ruler would start his rule by making gestures of compassion.
Oh, I see.
Freeing prisoners.
That's nice. Okay. That's
meaning
nice.
death sentences.
Got it. Okay. So give me Yavna v'chachamneha. Shulisa to Rabbi Gamliel, and the sort of the chain of Rabbi Gamliel, meaning the family of Rabbi Gamliel, of the Nasi. So he wants to preserve the religious, a religious center, the Torah and so on, which is going to be the religious future, and he wants to preserve political leadership and the Nasi and the status that comes with the house of the Nasi. Very interesting. And the other one was a very much less of a national one and much more personal one. Give me some type of doctors that will take care and heal Rabbi Tzadok. Because it's a little funny. Trying to sort of figure out how that fits into the other two, but some sense not only looking at the larger national picture, but at focusing at the individual acts of righteousness that have to be recognized. So
but also some kind of literary thing. There are a lot of details that are mirrored among these stories, like the shoe. You had the.
I wasn't thinking about that. She wasn't wearing shoes.
Because the Unclus is going to be the nephew of the Caesar,
right?
And this guy is the nephew
that's
of
a very good point. So it's just a way of essentially tying it.
I'm not sure
back
what it means, but there's some kind of link.
But that's a good point. The shoe also, yeah.
Rabbi Tzadok was fasting so that the temple wouldn't be destroyed.
Right.
And now it's a recognition, it's an acceptance by Rabbi,
I see.
saying, okay, the temple's going to be destroyed, so let's have a healing.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's very nice. Sort of like the same idea. Temple's going to be destroyed. We have to move on, so we're going to move to Yavne and transition that way. Rabbi Tzadok, whereas fasting, it wasn't going to be destroyed. Now we're going to have to find a way to transition to the next stage.
Right. Going in the direction of life. So
right.
Him
that's a very beautiful point. I really like that. Okay. Kariyali Rav Yosef, Yitim Rav Akiva. Now Rav Yosef and Rav Akiva responded, and they said, "Meishiv Chachamim Achor v'datam Yisakel." They did not like this response. That was a foolish response. They You should have said to him, you want a request? The request is, leave us. Don't lay siege to us. Who saw Rabbi Yomi ben Zakkai was of the opinion, maybe that much he won't do. And here's the phrase again, and then I won't even get this little salvation. And of course, this is so appropriate for Rabbi Akiva, because Rabbi Akiva, of course, was, backed Bar Kokhba, and he was very messianic and wanted the restoration of Jewish sovereignty and so on, right? So Rabbi Akiva did not want to come to terms with the new reality. He wanted to hold on to the old reality of the Beis HaMikdash and of Jewish sovereignty and so on. Whereas he was accepting, that Yavne replaces Beis HaMikdash. You can have the Nassi's house without having the same type of sovereignty that we had before, right? But that was not Rabbi Akiva. Okay. Lohava. What was this healing for the healing of Rabbi Tzadok or the doctors? Yom Kama Ashkuya Maya Defari. The first day when they tried to get him back to health, they made him drink water that had bran had been soaked in it, so it had a little bit of nutrition, but it was still very mostly water. He was able to absorb it in his body. L'machar Maya de Sipuka. The next day, water that had Rashi says a certain type of some type of a wheat that was
Steinsaltz is bran.
Yeah, no, the Maya de Pari I thought was bran.
Yeah, but he says they're both.
And this Maya de Sipuka, Rashi says, Rashi says with a little bit of flour. Bran with a little bit of flour. Okay, L'machar Maya de Kimcha. The third day, water that had flour soaked in it. Okay, so each day was more. It was a liquid diet with more and more nutrients. Until his stomach expanded little by little. Okay, I really liked your explanation, David. That it's basically it's sort of in a very personal way symbolizing the getting over the Chorban Abayis and transitioning into a new type of a state.
The word porta appears a lot in this.
Yeah, I was just going to
The
say
word
that.
porta appears a lot.
It's the same word that he used for a mine of
Atzela
salvation.
porta,
Yeah.
little salvation. Oh, very nice.
Right.
Very nice. Okay. Azu Shadri Latitos. So then Vespasian sent Titus, the Amar, and he said, so where is their God, the rock that they have found refuge in? So that's a pasuk from Farim. He will say, where actually the little circle should have been before the Amar. Anyway, he will say, where is their God? This verse refers to the wicked Titus. That he blasphemed towards God. Ma'asa, what did he do? By the way, you'll notice that Jerusalem isn't being given over in the hand of a Caesar. It's being given over in the hand of Titus. And before he said it was going to be given over, Tosfos says, well, no, since it was an extension of the siege that Vespasian laid, it was like it was being given over in the hand of the Caesar.
And Titus would later become Caesar.
There you go. Okay, so Ma'asa, what did he do? Tafa Zona Biado, he took a prostitute in his hand. He went into the Holy of Holies. Notice, by the way, we have completely now jumped over the entire, burning and destroying of Jerusalem, the breaching of the walls. We're now all the way to, to entering into the Beis HaMikdash. He went into the Holy of Holies. Sefer Torah. He spread out a Sefer Torah, which I don't know if they were supposed to have been in the Holy of Holies, the Avar Ale Avera, and he basically had sex with his prostitute on a Sefer Torah in the Holy of Holies. The Nato Sayef, he took a sword, the Gidir the Barochas, and he pierced the Barochas, the veil between the Holy of Holies and the Heichal. The Nasa Nace, and a miracle happened, not a saving miracle. The Hayadam Evatzveitz Vyotzei, and there was blood spurting out of the curtain of the Holy of Holies. Right, Tosfos was said that it was done to show how difficult the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash was, but it also could have been done to mislead Titus. So Kusover and Titus thought Haraget Atzmo. So this is a euphemistic way. He killed himself, but it means he thought he had murdered God. Your enemies have cried out in the midst of your meeting places, meaning the Beit HaMikdash, where you God caused your presence to be, to dwell. Shamu Samu Otatam Otot. They have made their signs into signs. They have seen this as a sign that they have killed you. That they Abachanan Omer Mi Kamocha Chasinuya. Who is like you, who with the strength of God? Mi Kamocha Chasin V'Kasheh. Who is like you, God, that you are so restraining and hard? Shata and Shata or strong. Shata Shomea Niyutzo V'Gidufo Shel Oto Rasha. You can hear the cursing and the blaspheming of that wicked person, v'shotei, and be silent. So, right, it's a little way the rabbis are like both sort of praising and astounded that God could allow such a thing to occur. So the way of expressing their incomprehensibility to understand how could this happen? Not only the base of it be destroyed, but God's name be so desecrated and there be no response from heaven. So they reframe it as a way of praising God. Okay, so the Bein Rebbe Yishmael Kana, Mi kamocha be'ilim Hashem, who is like you amongst the mighty God? Mi kamocha be'ilmim, who is like you amongst those who are silent? Ma'az, that you're able to be so silent at this moment. Ma'asa, what did then Titus do? Knuckle of the parochas, he took the parochas. The aso k'nin gargutani, he made it like a sack. The heavy kokelim should be mikdash. He put all the vessels in mikdash. We need and put it in it. Even bisvina, and he put it on a boat. Leilech lishkabech, he wrote to go and to praise himself in his city. The verse says, now the simple sense of this verse does not refer to it, but we're going to read it. I have seen wicked that are buried, and they have come in from a holy place, they have come, and they have been forgotten in the city which they have made. And what does that mean? Don't say, I have seen them buried. Ella kvutzim, I have seen them gathered, the wicked gathered. They'll be forgotten. They will praise themselves in their cities. Some say kvurim mamash. No, it does mean buried. Now, even the buried treasures, Iglai Laham, was revealed to Titus and his armies. Okay, Amad Alav Nachshel. Now there he was crossing the Mediterranean to return to Rome, and a big wave rose up. To drown him. Amar, oh, sure. Here's where God wants to take me on in the ocean with the water, because their God only knows his strength is only in water. When Paro came, he drowned him in the water. Sisra, when Sisra came, he drowned him in the water. Of course, that because one of the psukim there in Shiras Torah says Nachal Kidmon Garfein, Nachal Kishon Garfein, and so on. So here too, he wants to fight me in the water. He couldn't fight me back on land. In Gibru, if God is really mighty, let's fight on land. Okay, let's see if he can fight me on land. A heavenly voice came out and said, Russia ben Menoshel, Esav of Russia, wicked, the son of the wicked, the grandson of Esav, the wicked one. There's also the tie-in of Rome to Edom. I have a tiny little creature in my world. The Yitushma, it's known as a gnat. What's it called? A tiny little creature, a light one. That it takes in food and apparently it does not excrete it. I don't know why that means it's a light creature. Anyway, go onto the land and try to fight against this gnat. So he landed. A gnat came, went up his nose, and started piercing in his skull, in his brain, and eating away there. For 7 years. And obviously this was causing tremendous distress. One day he was walking by the doorway, the Beit Nafcha of a blacksmith. Shamakol Arzafka. So he heard the sound of like the beating of, on the anvil. Like, is that what's called the anvil? But anyway, Ishtik, and for the gnat was like startled by that harsh sound, and he stopped, eating away at his brain. So Amar Ikatakanta, there's a way to at least get a little relief. Every day they would bring a blacksmith and Machu Kameh, and he would like bang with the on the anvil. The Nachri, if he was a non-Jew, Yavle Arba Zuzah, he'd give him 4 zuz. Israel, if he was a Jew, it's enough that you have seen your enemy and you've seen me in anguish, so that's enough payment for you. For 30 days of it, they did this, and it gave him some relief. After that, even the Dash, once the gnat sort of grew accustomed, it was accustomed. It developed what's called an immunity to it. Okay, it's like the strain after you give it the medicine, and you develop an immunity to this. So Tanya, we've done a brisa. I'm Rabbi Pinchas ben Aruva. Ani Hayisi ben Gedolei Romi. I was amongst the the important the prestigious people of Rome. And when Titus died, they cracked open his skull. And they found inside his skull that the gnat had grown, and the gnat had become tzipor drawer, like this wild bird. Nishko shnei slaim, with weighs 2 slaim. The Masnisatan in the Bryce we taught Gozel ben Shana, like a pigeon a year old. Nishko shnei liter, that weighed 2 liters. Amar Bayi Naktina, we have a tradition. Pim shon lechoshet. It had a mouth of brass. Uvitziparnav shel barzel, and it had its fingernails was of iron. Okay, so this was eating away. I don't know how to develop brass and iron in the middle of his head, but anyway, maybe a little bit also echoing the blacksmith theme. Kihavi Kamayis, when he was dying, Amarlu, he said to the people, "Likliyalahu gavra, burn my, cremate me. Leave really kitime ashev yami, and spread my ashes on the 7 seas. That the God of the Jews should not find me in death and make me stand in judgment in the afterlife." So somehow we believe that if his body had been scattered and the ashes scattered, he would be saved to judgment in the afterlife. Okay, and we will continue with the next sort of story that relates to this. Pick up with this tomorrow.